right. Mongil Stardive is an action RPG that more so is more like a monster taming kind of game, sort of thing, since it's all about the monsters in a way. So, first of all, what you want to do day one is progress through the story as much as you can. Because progressing through the story will give you obviously more experience. The more experience, the more side quests you'll unlock. The more side quests you'll unlock, the more things you will unlock, such as mini games, daily dungeons, or gear farming, and etc. The request system, more on this a little later. And well, you know the drill. So yes, day one, you want to progress as much as you can. Don't really waste your stamina unless it's at the end of the day or at the end of your run. Then you should consider wasting your stamina. But you may want to be careful with who you level up. More on that a little later again. So let's start things first. How's the story? Well, the story is actually quite enjoyable. It's shown to you almost like an anime presentation. Not in terms of like, oh, it's 2D. It's still 3D. It still feels very video gamey, but there's not many stale, 3D characters talking to each other. We have those. It has those. It do have those, but they're not too long. They're short enough for me to bear with it, and they're short enough for me to be okay with it. I do still prefer their other presentation, which is like cutscenes, and they're actually pretty often. If they can keep that consistent, then I think this game will be great for even a story perspective, because the story itself, it's so old school. Like, you can tell that these people are old school. Like, this is like old school isekai stuff. This isn't like modern stuff. This is no Wuthering Waves. Maybe it could get better. I think it is going to get better in terms of like how dark this thing is gonna get. They're probably gonna pull a Heaven Burns Red on us, because the start of this game is actually really dark, but then it only lasts for like a few seconds or a minute, and then it gets onto not serious stuff, and it's all funny and so fun in games for the most part. For pretty much chapter 1 and chapter 2, or episode 1 and episode 2 of this story. So who knows how long it will get to get serious. I hope it doesn't take too long, but I hope it lasts long enough for me to be like, okay, are they actually gonna do this, or are they not gonna do this? But I do expect, and they have mentioned it before in an interview, that they will have darker themes, that this game will get dark. So I'm very excited, because I really like how it goes right now. Because that's what a good story is for me. Is you started out funny, emotions are a big thing for me. Obviously, a good written story is also a good thing for me, but that's what makes a good story for me. If the tone is meant to get serious, then it'll get serious. But if the tone is funny at first because it's going to manipulate you later with emotions, that's a 10 out of 10 story for me. So far, for me, chapter 1, it wasn't that enjoyable because I've already seen this stuff. So to be fair, the first time I saw chapter 1 was actually really enjoyable. It's just that this time I didn't really skip it on my stream, but I've seen most of it already because of other people live streaming it. So I already saw chapter 1, and it is enjoyable. It is enjoyable upon like first watch. Second watch, not so much. Second chapter though, I think if I was to watch or rewatch the second chapter, I think I could, because chapter 2 actually gets a little better. It starts picking up more. They start showing off more characters. Everything starts getting, the party starts getting bigger, and the plot starts flowing, if that makes sense. The plot starts thickening. This is where chapter 2 is where the plot actually really starts from what it feels like. So I can't wait to see what chapter 3 is. Maybe chapter 5 could be where things end up being super serious. I mean, it makes sense, right? If we're thinking about it like an anime perspective, usually chapter 5 is where things get good in an anime for most of them. So yeah, but I really like the presentation. It's beautifully rendered. It does need some polish. I think that's like the biggest thing from the cutscenes. And it's not the cutscene itself, it's the start of a cutscene or maybe the transitioning into a different thing that needs some polish. Outside of that, I think that story's fine. Art style and graphics. Well, in terms of graphical density, it's okay. It's fine actually. In terms of graphics, when it comes to what kind of graphics it has, I think they have good graphics actually. I think the graphics are really good. It's the art. The art is a little divisive for some people. I do not want this looking like Wuthering. Maybe in the style of Girls Frontline. I think Girls Frontline 2 has it perfect because Girls Frontline 2 has the anime characters looking like an anime character from like a body or like the face standpoint. But when it comes to the clothing, it is extremely detailed. If I had to choose whether I wanted Wuthering or GFL 2 in terms of like art style, I think I would have preferred Girls Frontline 2 in terms of like what their characters look like. Because I do like the anime look. Wuthering is going for something a little bit more realistic. And I love realistic, but I like anime as well. So I wouldn't have wanted the Genshin art style. I think I would have if the environments look really good. But for me, it's tricky because I like a good piece of clothing that looks really nice and really detailed, but the face and like the body looks anime. It's odd. I like that. So for me, I have no real complaints. Maybe they could polish some of the things, some of the details on the characters, but not too much. I'm not really picky with that too much. I did play Genshin for like 2 years or so, or maybe like 1 solid year. I don't know. I'm not really picky. It's whatever. Music. There is some good music, but it's hard to hear. If they probably need to polish levels of volumes because it sounds like the effects are really loud. Like the game can go from being really low to really loud. So maybe sound design is where they need to polish some things, or sound volumes, not design. I think the sounds of this game are actually really good. I like the sounds. So that's going to be a constant thing with this thoughts review, you could say, of the second CBT for me. There's a lot of good things, but just as there is a lot of good things, there is some bad things. Obviously, nothing's perfect. Moving on. Combat. Okay, this is a tricky one. And it's not exactly because I'm biased towards what the developers want to do. It's more of I am biased towards my nostalgia, or perhaps games I played before. Once you start playing this game does not feel like Wuthering. This game does not feel like Honkai Impact 3rd. This game does not feel like PGR. And I don't really think it's trying to go there, but it's trying to have some elements of that. So it grabs those people, but it more so feels like old school action games before Devil May Cry was a thing, before Ninja Gaiden was a thing. So think of the Mana series. This is definitely what this reminds me of in terms of combat the most. The Mana series. Very simple controls, very few things you can do. Oh, I guess another game that I could, compare it to could be the Rune Factory games. Like the old school ones, like Rune Factory 3 or 2. Yes, this feels kind of like that. Where it's very mashy, is very, old school. It's mashy. Okay, let's start. Each character has their basic attacks, there's not many buttons. So it's just a basic attack, a skill, and an ult. They do have switch skills. And the switch skills are actually kind of neat because they actually stay on field for a way longer time than what I'm used to in other gacha games. And it's nice because you'll get these prompts that want you to tag them in, and it ends up flowing really nicely, especially during bosses. So for me, this is a little complicated to kind of review as, because I don't think I want another Wuthering. If anything, I would want another PGR. Just, not so stage based. But if anything, I would want another PGR. This is definitely old school. If you like old school games, like Rune Factory, if you like the Mana series kind of feel in terms of combat, I think you're gonna like this. And that's where I'm at. Because I really don't see that as that type of action game. I really see this as just like an old school action, or just action RPG, not like a straight up action game. I see it like a old school action RPG, if that makes any sense. So what is there to do? Well, there's actually quite a bit without feeling like you're gonna be doing a lot, at least from my first impressions. I'm still gonna keep playing the beta. This is me on the next day right after I finish the story and everything. From what I think, I have already unlocked everything. So these things could very well change. Either way, I think that the game has or could run into a issue with the request system. So far, I don't think there's any other way of getting specific ascension materials besides your request. Your requests, essentially, it's a request system. Exactly as it sounds. The request system has you going to a quest board, checking out what quests you want to do for today, but you really do want to check on the gear or what rewards you're gonna get, because some of those are ascension materials and you can't really get them anywhere else. So you really want to be careful who you want to ascend and who you want to work on. I will be very descriptive on this in a different video. I will make guides for this so all of you have a better experience as to what you should be doing if you care about the smooth progression. So I will be doing that for sure. But just to summarize, requests are every day. You have conquests, you have requests, you have dailies, and you have dungeons. Dungeons are your main sources of, what you've grown to know in gacha games. Your character experience levels, your gear levels, your monsterling levels. Monsterlings being like your extra piece of gear here. You could call them like artifacts, but artifacts is something else in this game. And artifact levels, you have literally all of that, and skill level up materials as well to level up your character skills. So there is a lot. You can also craft gear, which is actually really neat. I really haven't seen or played a gacha game where you craft your gear instead of playing every day, going dungeons to farm gear. You actually craft it. Kind of like Roundless 2. You actually craft your gear. I haven't explored with this yet, so I won't really touch upon this much. I'll probably make a different video when it comes to that. I just think it's neat. There's also mini games where you can use the monsters that you have equipped for your character or characters, and they will do different things. They have different stats. They have durabilities, healing, and speed. Speed being probably the most important from what I've seen, for clearing, these races faster, of course. And yeah, that's gonna be really fun to, go further in and explore, and how that is. Exploring is also another thing. Exploring, you can clear out a complete map, try and farm, monsterlings. This is actually a really fun process. For me, I thought this would be fun in Wuthering Waves, but it was not that fun for me. In here, it is. In here, you will walk around, you will get these monsterlings, and because you have more uses of the monsterlings than in probably any other gacha at the moment, as you're familiar and looking at you, that game could very well actually end up using more of your monsters than this one, but we don't know that yet. However, I will be playing both because I like monster taming stuff and I like waifus and I like action-y combat. It doesn't have to be the best. It doesn't have to play like the top tier best. It just has to go for its genre and what it's trying to do. And it works. It works. Building characters in this game when it comes to the monsterlings is kind of fun because you can do a couple things with the monsterlings. You can either dismantle them, so you can, cook. Yes, you get to do the Pokemon candy thing from Pokemon Go. You get to, dismantle a Pokemon and you turn it into candy and you eat it for yourself. Yeah, that's a thing. You can also combine them. Now, another game that does have this system is Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves does have this combining system of monsters. The differences between this one and Wuthering Waves is that when you combine, you will know which monsters you are combining. I will explore with this a little more. I'm just telling you guys what I know so far. And when you're combining monsters, there's guarantees for you to get the exact same monster type if you know the combination. And you can also transfer traits. You can also lock traits. However, that uses a specific item that I'm not quite sure how you get it. Maybe that'll change upon release. I do have some from clearing something, but I don't know how that's going to work upon release. I feel like we should get those pretty often because we want to make our perfect builds when it comes to the monsterlings, the creatures, the Pokemon. And I guess that could be my biggest criticism with this. Maybe that's what events are for, and maybe we get some of those things every event, but I won't know, and I don't want to really speculate too much. I'm just telling you guys what there is and what they could change. Maybe some of these changes are already bound to happen with events. Who knows? But it's just something to keep in mind. Either way, this monsterling stuff, this combined monsterlings and all that is actually really fun. I love this. This is what makes me want to explore. The mini games is what makes me want to explore. Collecting is what makes me want to explore, and fighting the bosses as well. Can you get bosses? Monsterlings. Can you get the bosses? Can you collect the bosses yourself? Yes. Yes, you can. You can definitely collect the bosses yourself, but the process is a little bit different. It is not your just go at the boss, kill it, or get it to like a specific percentage, and then it'll just be like a ghost, and then you can just collect it. No. So Conquest is your weekly resource. And even though you play it every day, it's actually your weekly resource. At the shop, there's going to be treasure chests. Within these treasure chests gives you materials for leveling things up or for dealing with bosses. They will give you like gear and other materials. Pretty sure they're like weekly materials because you can only claim these treasure chests every 3 or 5 times during the week. You have 3 chests or 5 chests, depending on the chest that you're going for, and you can only do that. Once it's done, you have to wait until next week. The bosses themselves are not weekly. The bosses themselves, you can fight them every day. The good part about this system is once you've cleared it, you can sweep. Yes, this game has sweep. It's got sweep for dungeons, weeklies, and pretty much anything that requires you to use combat on, so you can focus on exploring and taming monsters, which is actually really, really good. I love it. I love it. And that's why I feel like, and I feel and think, right? Like, that's the vibe that I got from it. That's why I think the game is not too hard. In terms of difficulty, the game isn't really too hard. I did die a few times, but that's because I was way under leveled and some other, things. But the game isn't really hard. It's really easy, actually, because they want you to kill things fast so you can farm them. And if that's the case, then yeah, this is gonna be a really nice game to just go through, tune in maybe every month. If you're one of those players, if you like to play every day, you will have fun exploring this, as it is not an open world. It is just like, any other game where it's like seamless exploration, sorta. Not seamless, but it goes through areas. Each area goes through like a loading screen, but it's actually really not that long. It's a transition loading screen, not really a loading screen. So exploring these maps is pretty fun for me because I don't get the overwhelmness from an open world game. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just a me thing. Personally, I just feel like there's more of a reason to explore here than in an open world, because in an open world, you end up running through empty spaces a lot. Like a lot more than you probably should. And that's why I've always liked these games more. Because they're better paced. They feel better paced. It's nice. It's nice for a change. And I think that about wraps it up. So yes, that's MONGIL Stardive. That's my first impressions of MONGIL Stardive and what you do, at least so far. This is just a reminder. This is just my impressions on the second CBT and what content it has. I'm pretty sure I might have missed some. Oh yeah, I did. I missed Recruit. I totally forgot to talk about the gacha. I can't really say much because the rates could very well change. It even tells you, because nothing says it's guaranteed. It says that you'll get a 5-star guaranteed. There's no 50. It doesn't show no 50-50. It says 100%. Every 30, you'll get a 5-star. But it says it's a 1% for every 5-star. And yeah, it's a little confusing, but not too much. However, there's no significant details telling you which one's pity or how far you'll go to pity. So from me playing alone, like from just me, my own personal opinion of what I think about this gacha system can be really dangerous, but it could also be really nice. If the guaranteed it's at 30 pulls for 5-star, then getting 5 stars in this game is going to be extremely easy. If the pity doesn't change. If the pity is how it is right now, then, because there is none, think of Nikkei. This could go really well or really bad. Just the fact that every 30 gives you a 5-star is a good call, but that means that pools can cost you way too much. It'll probably, they could very well change this, and it could end up costing you maybe 100 pulls. Hopefully it's 100%. 100% for 100 pulls. Hopefully for characters. There is no weapon gacha. There is an artifact gacha, but who cares? You can farm some of those. You don't really need those. To be fair, I cleared the entire thing without, any of that. I got all that stuff pretty much later after I finished the story and some of the endgame content. So you don't really need artifacts. You just need to get good. No, I'm just kidding. You just need to work on your characters. That's it. But the game is fun. Recruitment could be really good. Could be really good. They also have a shop where, just like Wuthering, you can claim the characters themselves, and that is actually really nice, and it was super cheap. Now this again could very well change. This could be just all because it's the closed beta, so I will judge the gacha again upon a later video when the game officially comes out. But so far, the way these things look here, I'm actually very satisfied with how gacha is in the second closed beta, but I am fairly confident that this is not how it's gonna stay. I am fairly confident this gacha system is way too generous for it to stay this way. There is no way. And if it is, it means that it's probably going to be dupe heavy, and that's going to be a lot of power creep issues. But I don't know. We shall see, right? We shall see. Without further ado, I think that about wraps everything up. Maybe I forgot to talk about the cat, but the cat, only thing it does is gives you benefits towards racing your chain links and getting more monsters at once and getting stronger monsters every time you get one. But besides that, there's not much else. I love the sweep factor. The sweep factor is really good even for your weekly stuff. I think that's amazing that we have sweep for weekly stuff. That is fantastic. I love it. I love it. We have sweep for dungeons too. I love it. And there's just, I love the designs. All right. Blair shows a lot of cheeks and she's cute. Not like redheads and twin tails. Mina, also another twin tails. Not like gray hair and she's hot. And I will leave you guys with that. Without further ado, I will see you guys in the next video. If you got into the CBT too, how did you like the game? If you didn't, did you watch my live streams? Did you like the game so far? I did. I know I did, but I want to know what you guys think of this game. Are you guys excited for this game, for it to come out? Are you not? Are you not interested? And why? Are you interested? And why are you interested? Was there a character that specifically that you were interested on, or was it the monster taming thing that grabbed you, or what was it? Believe me, some of these mechanics, when I tell you some of these mechanics sound similar to others, they are. But once you are actually start getting your hands on it and you start seeing how they come into play, it's actually way different than anything we've got in the gacha space that we have right now. And this is awesome. I like my time. The more I think about it, I think the more I'm enjoying it. The more I'm talking about it, the more I'm enjoying it. Because I didn't really know whether I was gonna like it or not. So yes, I actually do like this game. Hopefully, Netmarble doesn't screw things up with this game, and because that is a danger. That is a danger. But just like every other company, you don't have to judge like that, right? Like you don't have to judge all like that. I mean, come on, we dealt with NetEase as well, which is making Ananta, which also made Marvel Rivals, and then NetEase or Netmarble. People like Solo Leveling, so that seemed to be doing great. So every company has a loss and a win. Same thing as Nexon. Everybody loves Blue Archive. Even I like Blue Archive, even though I don't play it anymore. Blue Archive, it's a Nexon game, and before Blue Archive came out, everybody hated Nexon. So don't mind it yourself. Just do what you want to do. Play what you want to play, and that is all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And that is my first impressions of MONGIL Stardive. Overall, I had fun with it. I loved it. I liked it. I enjoyed my time. I'm gonna keep playing just in case there's more. I gotta make more videos for you guys. And I'm out.
I've had enough of you.